welcome to the Jaded Angel Wrestling Podcast. I am the Jaded Angel Draven Blaze.
I am the Joseph Jordan.
And I am the third generation revelation, Ayden Blaze.
And we are doing this introductory video to introduce the Jaded Angel Wrestling Podcast, where we're not only going to talk about Jaded Angel Wrestling Academy or Extreme Hybrid Wrestling or WTW, while that's wrestling. We're going to talk about wrestling in general, what happened during the week, or a few weeks of wrestling. We might not be able to do this weekly, but when we do meet up, we're going to talk about from the last time we saw you guys or you seen us to the current time. I also would like to talk on different eras in wrestling and, like growing up as kids, what did you watch? What did you watch? What did I watch? Because we are literally three different generations here. Even though you're the third generation, you grew up at a time slightly after he grew up.
Yeah.
Right? So you got a little bit after him, but you also got to do tape study from times before that.
I was peak ruthless aggression. Peak.
And he was PG era. From the time where he was able to really understand what was going on, it was PG era already. For me, I grew up 80s wrestling, so NWA and WWF were the thing. And there were times literally where or NWA would be running at the Civic Center in Philadelphia, and WWF was wrestling at the Spectrum. And I was a big WCW or NWA fan. But anyway, not to get too much into that, we're also going to dive deep into questions and answers, any questions you might have about training, shows, how shows run, the difference between our shows and other shows, also similarities between shows. We'll talk about shows that we've been on, either singly, collectively, together, or however. We'll talk about shows that we were on and what we liked about the shows. I don't want to sit here and trash any other companies, so I'm going to leave the cons out of it. Just the pros, and if there's a bunch of cons for the promotion, we just won't talk about it. I'm not going to spread negativity on our podcast. That's the last thing I want to do.
That's right.
So, what should we tackle first?
Well, we already seem to get into what we watched.
Yeah. All right. What about currently? Wrestling is an exciting time right now.
Yeah. It is.
Think about it. You have WWE. Sorry, WWE, which
right, Jesse
has
Ventura.
Right. You have WWE, which is I feel is reaching an all-time high.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah.
Watching it from when I was a kid to now, and recalling all the different eras of WWE. I think now is one of my most exciting.
we literally thought you were about to go shirtless and
I mean, whatever. But
whatever floats the boat.
But now, I think they're at their peak. Almost everybody on the top of the roster is fantastic.
Yeah, whether you're at the bottom of the card, mid card, top
Right,
card,
yeah.
it doesn't even matter.
Everybody can put on an exciting match.
Yeah,
Everyone can,
top tier matches.
Females and males.
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. I don't give a shit about other people's 5-star ratings and shit like that. We'll rate it ourselves. We'll do our own rating.
The fans rate it by one, their attendance, and
Yeah.
two, their commitment to the storylines.
That is
Correct.
fair.
Their tribalism. There's lots of wrestling tribalism.
But yeah, so you got WWE that is on fire more than it's ever been. You got AEW, which I will admit I am not a big fan of AEW, but we could talk about it, and if there's something I'm not up to par on, then fill me in. We'll watch some stuff. That way I can put in an actual opinion to it rather than just say, oh, I didn't see it.
If you guys have any requests of what you guys want us to see, or if there's spots or different things that you want us to look at, shoot us a message, comment, do whatever you need to, and we'll take a look at it.
Absolutely. TNA.
TNA? Well, TNA's on fire too
Yeah,
right now.
well,
Ooh,
yeah,
man,
it is.
they're making a comeback and a half.
Look, I was a fan of TNA when they had the 6-sided ring originally, when AJ was there, Samoa Joe. Those guys were pillars of TNA from the beginning.
Yeah, yeah.
And like when I think of TNA, those are the first two people I think of.
I always think of Kurt Angle because
Perk Angle.
Perk Angle.
Listen, he was an animal.
Yo, he really wasn't.
He was an animal.
Man,
amazing. They always just put on like really amazing matches. Amazing Red was often on TNA, and I always enjoyed watching his stuff. And it was great. Like Elix Skipper, is that his name?
I'm not sure.
That's the guy that climbed the cage and like ran along top of the cage, did the run off the top of the cage.
Yeah.
Fuck.
I'm not. Oh man.
Man, that was a fantastic spot.
It was indeed.
Homicide.
Yeah.
He was a beast.
Yep.
Got the Scott Steiner promos. Those are always the best.
TNA
man.
Scott Steiner is probably like my favorite. My second favorite version of Scott Steiner. First favorite would have been teaming with Rick.
Yeah.
That's my favorite because he didn't look as juiced up. He didn't look like a weirdo to me.
That
like,
guy was drinking more juice than the Welch's factory, man. Oh man.
But let me tell you, man, he was something else. He was something else. All right. While we're on subjects of like how great wrestling's doing today. Oh, and Japan's blowing up as it always is. Japan is always blowing up.
Fire.
Noah, MJP.
Oh my god,
W,
they have
Stardom.
been on top of the wrestling business forever. If you see something in American wrestling today that looks new, it happened like 10 years ago in Japan.
Yeah.
Like that's how amazing Japanese wrestling is.
Everything in Japan's like 10 years in the future.
They're, I believe, I'm not sure. We have the computer here, you know, if the fact check, but I do believe that a bunch of the different Japan promotions got together, and they basically signed contracts for like the betterment of wrestling in Japan. And that a lot of the different Japan companies are going to start working with each other, and also for the betterment of talent as well.
Wow.
I think, don't quote me on that, but popping into the top of my head, I'm pretty sure I read an article somewhere about that. We got fact checker.
He'll fact check it
Ayden Blaze over here checking
as he's checking the facts.
the facts.
Joey, favorite wrestler of all time, go.
My favorite wrestler of all time. I get so much flack for this, but
Oh, shit.
as you see, I'm wearing the best in the world shirt for a reason. Because CM Punk, to me, is the best in the world, at least on the microphone. You know, he had a tough run, started out coming back to AEW. He was definitely out of shape. He was ring rusty, and I don't mean to talk down on the best in the world, but it's really nice to see him back in WWE and mending fences and
He seems
doing
to have
stuff like
been
that.
doing a lot better, in my opinion, to
put on better matches.
put up like much better matches. But also, could it also be the quality of the people he's working with?
Oh, definitely could, definitely 110%.
Not to on AEW, like I said, no negativity. But the quality of people and production that WWE has versus what AEW has, you know what I mean? I think that could possibly also do with it. And it's also, he got back into wrestling after how many years of not being in it. So he may have still had that little chip on his shoulder.
Yeah.
And with WWE, it's like, you know what, like, whew, you know, like they accepted me back, like after all the back and forth between. So maybe it's a lot of like, he's able to breathe in WWE.
Yeah.
And he's got a better run of people to work with. Like his storyline with Drew McIntyre, phenomenal.
Oh yeah.
Phenomenal.
Great matches, great story. The bracelet thing was a little iffy. I mean, I don't know.
But listen,
still,
they made money off of a bracelet.
Yes, they did.
They drew fans like continuously into the storyline with a bracelet.
That is
like
impressive.
Yeah.
That is
that's on
very
both
impressive.
of them.
That is.
Alright, so we got a fact check on what you were saying about Japan. And it is true. United Japan Pro Wrestling is new wrestling collective in Japan that aims to improve the status of professional wrestling in Japan and around the world.
Nice.
So,
All right. Thank you for the fact check.
How about Omos? Omos being contracted under WWE and winning the Noah tag titles with, I don't know who he's the tag champ with, but that's pretty crazy to me too. The free range that WWE is now giving their superstars, almost like how it was back in the day when they would go and wrestle for different promotions.
Well, if anything, that helps.
Omos hands over Noah title ahead of return to WWE.
Oh, so he's giving it back now.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
I guess so.
All right, Ayden, favorite wrestler of all time.
My favorite wrestler of all time has to be Chris Jericho. Because, in my opinion, he is probably the most well-rounded wrestler. Like, he can do power, he can do technical, he can do high flying, like he can do it all.
I mean, he's getting
throughout his life. Throughout his life, he was able to do it all.
Yeah. I mean, just because now he's hitting a little bit of a slower turn, but guess what? Like,
but
he was consistently good throughout his career and consistently getting better.
Absolutely.
Like I was a fan of face Jericho, but his best work was heel Jericho.
Oh, God, yeah. I've always loved heel Jericho, much more.
When he came back in what was it 2009, and he had the numbers on the trunks and I remember watching week out, and I'm like, who the hell is this guy? These numbers, they keep popping up on the screen, and like, I don't know how old I was. I must have been like 10 or 11 or something like that. But being young and seeing the creative process of bringing him back, definitely kept me invested. He really is just he phenomenal talent, exceptional, more than exceptional.
Absolutely.
And my favorite wrestler of all time, Sting. I don't know. It was just something about like his energy.
Yeah.
Just drew me in as a kid. Like, I'd be watching wrestling and you see, Ric Flair taking on this person, the Minnesota Wrecking Crew, Ole and Arn Anderson wrecking people, Flying Brian Pillman, like flying all over the place. But then Sting would pop on and it would just like the whole atmosphere of me watching wrestling would change. It was no longer like, ooh, this is fun to watch, to, oh my God, I am mesmerized watching, right? So like, and then I go back and I watch some of his earlier stuff, and I love Sting to death. His matches weren't always the greatest, but man, they were so fun to watch. Like the squash matches he would have with jobbers, like it wasn't like a 30-second squash match. He would do like a 2-minute squash match, let the jobber get some shit in, and then crush death. Boom, done. Yeah. So like he didn't just destroy them like you would have the typical squash match back then. And then so going from Surfer Sting to the Crow Sting, like the Crow was my favorite movie growing up. Like Draven, came from the Crow. So seeing him go from the Surfer Sting look to the Crow look, I was just like, oh my God.
It's so funny because he said that his Crow Sting wasn't even inspired by the Crow.
It was because of Scott Hall.
Okay.
Scott Hall gave it, like, was like, hey, you should do this because of this. It was kind of like Scott Hall's idea.
Yeah, and then he took it and ran with it.
We can fact check this.
Go ahead, fact check it. What about, I would guess CM Punk, like, as of, like, current superstar.
Current superstar?
Or current wrestler.
Current wrestler, someone that I really do look up to. I mean, you can't really, because like Cody Rhodes debuted around the same time, a little bit after Punk, which is funny because
you can still say Punk because he's still active. He's very
he's very active. But the two people that I'm heavily in, well, three really, because Ayden said Chris Jericho. I'm heavily influenced by
it was
Jericho as well.
Can you wait until he's done talking?
Yeah,
thank you.
We'll cut that one out later. But I was super heavily inspired by Jericho, Cody Rhodes, CM Punk, many more. Really, when I was a kid, like really small, like before I really understood what wrestling was, I was John Cena fan. I had the John Cena shirts. I had the crew cut. You might as well call me Joey Cena. Like it was.
All right, there we go.
But I don't go back to that.
Go back to that.
Sting's transition to the Crow was influenced by Scott Hall, who suggested the dark, white face painted character.
There you go. All right, current favorite wrestler, not favorite wrestler, but like Chris Jericho is still kind of wrestling, right? Yeah. So, but like favorite, I guess you could say like full time talent.
Okay.
I think we had this discussion the other day.
Yeah. Too. And it's gonna keep changing because a lot of
there's so many.
There's so many.
The pool is deep.
But I would have to say like Seth Rollins.
Seth Rollins.
Seth Rollins.
Yeah, Seth Rollins. I would say the same. Seth Rollins, and
Chad Gable.
Chad Gable for sure.
Yeah, Chad Gable's a beast.
Yeah, really but let me tell you, like, anytime I see AJ Styles, it's got that nostalgia, like, fan favorite to me. Because the dude, like, he's not called phenomenal AJ Styles for no fucking reason. Like,
yeah.
Man, he could. I swear he could do anything. He could do anything. He makes everybody look good. He like when he gets angry and he bites his tongue and he looks like he's like really pissed off. Oh my god, I believe it.
Damn straight.
Like, and I'm a worker for 23 fucking years. I'm a second generation guy. So like,
that man can sell water in a cup.
I like that one.
That was a good one.
That one.
All right. So let's plug our next shows. This Sunday, I don't know when this is going to air, so it'll probably be past the time, but I'm still going to mention anyway. This Sunday,
February 2nd,
we are in Jackson, New Jersey for Matt Pro Wrestling. Matt Pro Wrestling is, owned by Ray Mars, who is a really good friend of mine in the wrestling business. I had a small feud with him back in 2010 in EGW. We were face on face feud, and I was really trying to get a fire up under his ass because he was doing really fucking good. And I just wanted him to have top notch matches. And I was like, you know what? If we do a feud together, this will really make pop him in, especially in our fans' eyes, because I was the golden child of EGW at the time. So what better way to make this guy look good by putting him in the ring with me and pushing him? Yeah. And so Ray and I had some great matches, but the best matches I've ever seen Ray have was with Darius Carter. Them two, basically Darius Carter is like William Regal. And then you have Ray Mars, who's got not one type of style, but he's not the most technically sound guy, but he's a really great worker. And to see the contrast in styles, and they know each other so well. Like, I'll pop on a match for you with the two of them, and the connection that they have, the chemistry that they have, was just off the charts amazing. I have never seen them two have a bad match. So anyway, Matt Pro Wrestling is owned by Ray Mars. And anytime we've been there, it's been a blast for me because I have guys that I haven't seen since, 10 years, maybe more. Guys that Ayden grew up watching, and he's now sharing the ring with these guys. Yeah. And then, you got the stepdads there who are a phenomenal tag team. Oh my God. They are great. If you haven't seen them, you're going to love them. They are great people in the locker room. They are great. Oh, and what a great, honestly, what a great gimmick they have too. Don't pop it on yet. What are you doing, homie?
Well, I was just bringing it up just in case you want to.
It'll be my my debut at Matt Pro Wrestling. It'll be my first weekend going out there. I can't wait to see and meet everybody, shake everybody's hands, and then hopefully kick some ass.
Any words about it?
I'm just gonna have fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just this past weekend, we did a show for Riot Pro Wrestling.
Down in
soon-
Daytona, Florida. Yep.
Soon we'll have some video clips out of that, and
Yeah.
maybe we'll post on the channel. Maybe we won't. I'm not sure.
Oh, we'll post.
We'll post.
We'll definitely post.
We'll
yeah.
post. We'll post clips.
Yeah, because from what I hear, EHW is going to be having a small working relationship with Riot.
Oh,
So,
okay. News.
So yeah. I'll fill you in a little bit more on that so that you're on the know before they're in the know. All right, and talking about other shows, at this current moment, the next shows we have, I have the March 1st booking at Riot for Daytona.
Riot Pro.
March 8th, we got Wow That's Wrestling in Summit Hill, Pennsylvania. WTW. And then March 15th, EHW back in Jim Thorpe, Pennsylvania. It's a benefit show for Taylor and Jasmine, their scholarship fund. There are two Jim Thorpe cheerleaders who sadly passed away before their time almost 10 years ago. It would be 10 years this coming August. So we're doing a benefit show for them. Whereas right now, tickets are going to be split 50-50.
Okay.
They're going to be taking care of all the concessions. So a lot of the money, majority of the money that's coming into that show is going to the benefit. So there's a lot of hands that are involved with making sure this goes smoothly. And I'm excited for it because this is going to be a big event for EHW. I think it's really going to it's going to make a difference.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah.
Thank you to everybody that comes out and helps, whether you're a fan, friends, backstage crew, at any show. Without the people in the back, there wouldn't be a show. So we do want to say thank you in advance.
That's absolutely correct. Any show we go to, the staff of the venue, the staff of the promotion, the boys in the back, boys in the front, plants, any friends or family that are showing up, we love you. Anything to say?
Thank you guys who's all watching for supporting us, and continue to watch us because we're funny.
Yeah, we are.
I hope so.
Okay.
All right.
Well, this is Draven,
This is Ayden.
The Joseph Jordan.
and we'll see you next time.